What's going on, Master Duel fans? James Polk here. At the time recording of this, we are back at it again. Part 2 of the history of the path of Master Duel. More decks for you to join in. So before we get started to go over the rest of the history of what decks I played, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you haven't already, hit that notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated. And let's get things started with part 2 of the history of the path of Master Duel. Fiendish Encounter. Burning Abyss, Magical Musket. Chose Magical Musket of all decks because this deck has super control lines, which is super easy for me to learn, unlike super heavy combo decks, because one mess up and I will always end up losing. So I chose Magical Muskets instead of Burning Abyss. Like, don't get me wrong, Burning Abyss is great, but at the same time, I decided to give up the deck because it's not much for me anymore, to be quite honest. But when it comes to Burning Abyss players in general, making the deck more unique and a whole lot better, I salute to you guys. So, Magical Musket, a series of light fiends who are all about interrupting your opponent's turn by activating Magical Musket spells and traps. And that is a continuous effect which does not activate. So it gets around Babushka, for example, because Babushka in defense makes it so that effects are negated and they stay in defense. But the deck does not care about the position. It's just as long as we activate the Magical Musket spells and traps, we should be in good shape. This deck has it all. Double the attack, but no direct attack. Protect your musket from card effects and a search or recur. Spell trap negate. DD Crow up to 3 in either grave. Spot removal of face up. And make the stats 0 and effects negated. So it's basically muskets imperm. And of course, both cross dom as well as steady hands can also be done in the damage step. This deck does well for going first or second because Ties of the Brethren for going first, Link Into the Reigns for going second. Ties of the Brethren, for the level 3s, you have Caspar the Searcher of musket cards, Doc Holiday, Recur, does not target recur of musket cards, but it cannot be the same name as the ones you activate. So non-musket cards get you musket cards, as well as Billy the Kid, ditch 1 musket card, spell trap included to draw 2. And for your level 4s, Bell Star, tells you literally any main deck musket that's not Samuel because he's a level 8, except herself as well. Calamity Jane is your monster reborn of muskets, including a copy of herself, and it cannot be Max because Max has no defense as a Link monster, no duh. Wild Bill Hickok is your mini pot of avarice of muskets, 3 musket cards, spells and traps included to draw 1, and then Samuel the Black Huntsman. You can tribute summon this big guy by tribute 1 musket monster, and on top of that, depends on how many musket spells and traps you played on your opponent's turn, that's how many cards you get to draw. So it's basically, they better have Ash Blossom or it's bust. And then extra deck, only 4 cards in extra deck. Lina, and 3 Max. Depends on what your opponent's board state is looking like. That's what Max does. Especially the fact that if you have Link into the Reins and literally any musket in hand, your opponent cannot do anything to stop me from triggering Max's effect, which is either add that many musket spells and traps with different names to search, or e-telly too many muskets with different names, up to the number of back rows, as well as searching spells and traps depending on the number of monsters. And because we are all about interrupting on your opponent's turn, aside from the muskets, we also have Call By, as well as Forbidden Chalice. As much as I love to main Cosmic Cyclone to deal with Runics, there's no space for it. Essence of Flora and Ocean. Courtesy of Trickstar and Marincess. Chose Trickstar because ever since Code of the Duelist, when it first came out, it was between Goki, World Chalice, and Trickstar. Goki, never liked it because deck is too complicated in terms of messing up combos. World Chalice, not a fan of, because one screw up of a misplay, then I lose. So I chose Trickstar of all things because their link requirements makes it super easy enough for me to link summon into Trickstars. So, mission of Trickstars, they are all about burning your opponent, depends on how it's done. You have Trickstar Light Stage, which is the searcher of the deck, and anytime your Trickstar does battle or effect damage, they burn for 2. Oh, and it is the magic number, 200. Because 200 for something something. And of course, the field spell can also target and, unless if they have no respawns, lock the set card, and they have to activate that set card, otherwise it goes straight to graveyard. And then live stage, this is for token generating, for having a link monster, Trickstar link monster, and your opponent gotta have a back row for it. Same with festival, but the thing is, you're locked into Trickstars. Candinas is the searcher of the deck, burns for 200 once they play a spell trap. Lycoris, for every card they drew or add, they take 2. And such cards as the One Lone Reincarnation or Disturbance Strategy can help you fix that by them taking more damage, as well as having more burn damage off from light stage. And to keep the effect damage going, Holly Angel, as well as Black Cat Bat herself, does it. Holly Angel, she burns your opponent for 2 when it comes to summoning a Trickstar where the arrows are pointing at, and then when a monster, doesn't gotta be a Trickstar, that it points to gets killed by battle or card effect, burn your opponent for 2. And then, to get around even bigger monsters, cards such as Cora Bane, as well as Honest, can help you gain too much attack so that the bigger monsters are being cleared out, even against tower decks. And with Droll being mained, combination of cards such as Disturbance Strategy and Trickstar Reincarnation in the OCG land was the realest reason Reincarnation is at 1 in OCG. And this makes it so that the Trickstar Reincarnation with the Droll, it makes it so that no player or the opponent is unable to draw cards anymore and have their hand become extra empty. And to get out even more Trickstar cards or burn damage, Dark Rumor Nightmare gets out more burn damage, and Chain Summoning lets you get your extra normal summon 3 times, which also means Candina's normal summon search effect is not once. And on top of that, Lily Bell can also bypass you in terms of direct attacks. So Lily Bell bypasses monster that deals with going after that monster for attacks, with the likes of Avermax as an example. And then extra deck, 3 Blooms, 3 Holly Angels, 1 Black Cat Bat, 1 Crimson Heart. Rather than burning your opponent, you gain the 200 once a Trickstar is normal or special to where the arrow's pointing at. And on top of that, she lets you draw 1, or both players draw 1. You get 2 cards, but your opponent gets 1 if my life points is at least 2,000 or higher. And the fact that Trickstars are light monsters, Hippo Shinigami can also buff up the lights everywhere, same with Trickstars. Diva Ritis is another burn card because of upon being special summoned, doesn't matter how she's special summoned. And I believe there was another card that it was supposed to be added to the extra deck. Foxglove Witch. There she is, Foxglove Witch. She was supposed to be added to the extra deck. So Foxglove Witch, she is there because burning your opponent 200 as well, because of upon special summon, doesn't gotta be link summon, and it's for every card they control. And then Diva Ritis, unlike the burn, this one deals with banished Trickstar cards up to the number of link monsters your opponent controls, add them back to the hand, and it gains 1,000 per. So in any grind game state, recurs you a whole lot of Trickstar cards by going up against a deck that plays too many links. And then Bella Madonna, if she's not pointing to anything, she's basically towers in terms of activated effects. And on top of that, for every Trickstar monster with a different name, burn for 2. So the more Trickstar monsters you have with tons of burn, the better the damage. And then sliding right over to Trap Tricks. And of course, ever since the Structure Deck's released, all I can say is I definitely enjoyed playing Trap Tricks a whole lot throughout the course of the one season, and looking forward to play Trap Tricks again in the near future. So this deck of Trap Tricks is a series of earth insects as well as earth plants. They are all about generating massive back row advantage, and you always want to surprise your opponents to fake them out one way or another. And of course, this deck has some no good shenanigans. So the idea with Trap Tricks is that they have the Stratos of the decks in terms of Myrmilio and Mantis. Searches a Trap Tricks monster, including another copy of Mantis, and then Myrmilio searches you literally all whole normal traps from deck to hand, which is wild. You also have Rhoda / E-Telly of Trap Tricks, Reborn, and a reset button of a Trap Tricks or Trap Hold card. Vesiculo is an extender and your reset button of Trap Hold trap cards, but only if you have no back row. And this can only be done one effect or the other, can't do both. Ginlisi recovers you or setting you 2 whole normal traps, one off from grave and one off from deck. And then Atrax, this is the favorite. anytime I see Atrax in my hand, once I have Atrax on the field with literally any whole normal traps, you do not ever want to set any of those ever, because theoretically, if your opponent has Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, or any back row removal shenanigans, you want to fake them out by having Solemn Judgment, and if you have Sarah on the field, D-Barrier to make Sarah go live. Same with Shea Brigadine. Only if you never saw Atrax all game long, just have Shea Brigadine and D-Barrier, call whatever based on what they play. And then Starlight Road in terms of Twin Twister, Feather Duster, Lightning Storm. Otherwise, if you see Atrax, most cases is that Lightning Storm the monsters, as well as Raigeki, for you to trigger Starlight Road, just so you can get yourself a free Stardust. And then your Trap Hole Trap cards depends on how it's summoned, from when, where, and how to do so. Any summon with 15 or more attack, kill and banish. Special summon with 2,000 or more to negate destroy. Special summon monster, trigger its effects this turn, negate destroy. Special summon from hand or extra deck, spin it back, and lose 1,000 life, of course. Any kind of summon, Book of Moon it permanently. Hand traps, graveyard effects, or banish POW, negate it and take 2,000. Special summon from the main deck or graveyard. Anytime a Link monster is Link summoned. And your extra deck, Rafflesia, copy off any Trap Hole Trap card, depending on the right condition. Elamaris, revive and reborn any Trap Tricks, but mainly, literally, any level 4 insect or plant, because that's what the card text says. And then, upon being destroyed because of the card effect and ends up either grave or banished, steals the monster to your side. Babushka, the Return of Drill Driver. 3 Sarah. This is the card you want to keep alive on the field the most. If a normal trap card triggers, doesn't matter what normal trap card triggers, get you a Trap Tricks from the deck amongst the different names, and you get to keep on setting literally any whole normal traps as long as a Trap Tricks monster triggers. Also, the whole deck is Earth, and then 2 Calarias, and soon to be Trap Tricks Oedipus will be added into this mix whenever the card shows up. As for Oedipus, it's basically, as long as you have a trap, all of your Trap Tricks will become stronger by 1,000 points. And then based on the number of plants or insects, or in most cases being Trap Tricks cards, you control, you get to negate monster effects as well as the cards, I believe. And then you can also banish a trap to kill one of the cards, all from Oedipus, which is ridiculous. Looking forward for her to come into the game. Blessings of Nature. That would be the likes of Amazonis, Vernisylphs, and Tearlaments. I refuse to pick Tearlament because I already knew full well that the deck is going to be meta. So I chose Vernisylph of all things. So Vernisylphs is a series of Earth Fairy monsters that deals with discarding effects, as well as the resolution of the effect is whatever the said gimmick effect, followed by reborn any earth monster. And if you notice, the whole entire thing is nothing but earths. This deck functions with recur any earth that isn't flowering fields, draw you one, search for any earth fairy that isn't misting ceilings, foolish burial any monster that can be normal summon set, but you can special summon any earth monster from your graveyard that isn't the one that got foolish burial. And then you also have the Stratos of all Vernisil cards, spells and traps included. And then your boss of Vera, she can mind control permanently and it becomes earth. And then monster negate does not activate if you happen to have 5 or more earths, being the 5 main and a link. And then on top of that, on your opponent's turn, monster reborn literally any earth across the universe. It can even be extra deck monsters as well. So you also have Asa to do some digging for the missing key pieces. And in case if you never saw Coelis a lot throughout the beginning of the game, if you have Asa and Pankratops, discard Asa, discard Pankratops, just so you can get Coelis a lot for your synchro plays. And then you also have the Ishizu package, the shufflers, and the mills of these two. And if you expect to go against tier limit, which they be all about the milling the most, you just simply normal summon this Earth statue. And then if you expect to come across any milling combinations of cards with the likes of Awakening Forest to ditch Kelbeck or Agito off from Awakening Forest, just to foolish burial the opposite card, you're essentially milling 10 cards, which is insanity. And to top this off, while Earth statue is face up on the field, if you expect to hit any tier limit names off from Kelbeck and Agito, what fusion monster that is Earth that they're gonna go into? They're just basically stuck. And then Mechanical Hound is your secret spice of this deck. Aside the fact that he's an Earth, and the gimmick of this deck is you rather have no cards in your hand just so that games instantly ends against spell heavy decks, Runic, Sky Striker, Pendulums, in terms of slowing things down. But otherwise, if you get both Mechanical Hound and Earth Barrier Statue together on the field, unless they have something that can stop this entire combination of cards, they're just stuck from playing the game. And of course, as announced, that somewhere in the Datamine leaks, Cash Tira is also a thing, because Fenrir as well as Dino Wrestler Pankratops can actually get over both Hound as well as Earth Statue, because Fenrir can just attack the statue and banish the Mechanical Hound. Same goes for Pankratops attacking the Earth Statue, and Pankratops tribute itself, or most cases main the Coelis a lot to get rid of the Hound. So unless if they have Fenrir or Pankratops, they're just stuck from playing this game. And of course, the rest of the Vernisil spells and traps about what also they can do. 1000 attack boost once you have 5 or more Earths, compulses or recur any monster from either grave to hand or either field in terms of putting one back. And then In case if you never saw Vera all game long, by banishing Flower Buds from hand or graveyard, this lets you free special her. And then changing seasons, this deck is all about not having a hand. So once you have no hand, and if the card is in your graveyard, on your opponent's turn, this archetype is a soul charge, which is insane. And to top it all off, changing seasons as a set card, you either recur or special one Vernisylph from grave, which is insanity. And then your extra deck, the return of Beast, Barkion, Mrs. Radiant, Drill Driver, Asa, Geonator Transverser, and then Goyo Guardian. Dude is an Earth, obviously super old card from the Life and Times of Edison decks and so on. HTS Psyhemoth. He is literally DD Warrior Lady of Synchros. Already mentioned Landois, of course. Monster effect triggers, you have plenty spells to negate the monster effect and destroy it. Plus, you have your shufflers to put your spells back in case if you ran out already. Samurai Destroyer, Dude's an Earth. And what's even more extra nice is in case if he gets killed by a card effect on my control, this card basically comes back because he is a machine, so it can literally target any machine, self-included. It comes back. Giga Spino Savate, you need Koala Salat as a tuner and 2 level 3s to make it. If this guy sticks to landing, he is a Ancient Gear, Mekk-Knight Crusadia Evermax, Baron de Fleur in terms of popping monsters, and a Saving Grace in terms of destroying one of the card. Leo, Jaja, Gem Knight Pearl, and Fairy King Overditch to debuff non-Earths. And of course, what better way to mix and mash the deck with the deck list off from the attribute 4 as you saw earlier. So, rather than Mechanical Hound and Earth Statue together, if you see any Trap Tricks pieces in any ground game state, Myrmilion's special summon effect to spot removal a spell trap is not once, which is insane. You get to keep on doing this too many times as long as you either send it off as link material or detach it off from a XZ material, and as long as you have any leftover Vernisylph cards in hand, you get to keep on spot removal with Myrmilion one by one. Same goes for reset button, any trap hole trap card, which is hard once per turn. And almost forgot, your power source of Vernisylphs is Corolla. Corolla turns every Earth monster across the universe into Vernisylphs. So as long as the card sticks to landing, every Earth monster on the field whose original name is not a Vernisylph also counts as Vernisylphs. So what does that even mean? You have Thawing Mountains as well as Awakening Forests. If you have Corolla on the field, you can just literally target any Earth monster to double the attack and OTK. So your board state should be Bear, Sleeping Bear with a little fairy guy, and literally any monster in terms of Corolla And if you happen to link off into Mrs. Radiant off from these two after you use the effects, you are literally creating an OTK with a fatal error. And what's even more crazy is that in any late game, grind game state is where if for some reason, in terms of defensive maneuvers, if they kill Earth Statue, Mechanical Hound, Beast, Bark, Landois, Spino Savate, you could just have Vera revive those key cards back and they are stuck from playing this game. And to top it off, in a defensive situation, if you have Corolla, as well as the Flowering Fields and Flourishing Hills, that means your opponent cannot target literally any Earth monster or destroy within card effects, which is, again, insanity. And then the extra deck changes in terms of mix and meshing the two. So aside from the synchros and the XZ changes, there was no space for Geonator Transverser unless I can cut down one of the extra decks that I hardly ever go into. But at the same time, most cards from the extra deck came up all season. And last but not least, Mecha Phantom Beast. Mecha Phantom Beast is a wind machine archetype whose mission of the deck focuses on token generating, and while controlling a token, Mecha Phantom Beasts cannot be killed by battle effects. And Mecha Phantom Beast monsters, they actually do something upon tributing the token, not counting Olion. You have Monster Reborn of Mecha Phantom Beasts, Stratos of Mecha Phantom Beast monster, Damage Step, battling a monster for 800 boost to Tedawolf itself, Tribute 2 to destroy and banish a card, Special a Mecha Phantom Beast from the hand, increases level by 1. And then there are many ways to token generate. Synchro Summon of a machine, Samurai Destroyer most likely, generate a token, sent to the graveyard, doesn't matter how it's sent to the graveyard, just like Dandelion, generate a Mecha Phantom Beast token. And of course, Olion has a double summon of Mecha Phantom Beast, so it's able to make a rank 7, or most cases higher, like it's meant to do. Hamstrat Flip Face Up generates 2. Anytime a token, doesn't gotta be Mecha Phantom Beast token, generated before Mega Raptor triggers, Mega Raptor generates a Mecha Phantom Beast token. Tedawolf's normal summon generates a token, and anytime a card is being tributed that isn't Harlier, Pancratops most likely, or every other Mecha Phantom Beast that isn't Harlier, generate a token, and you have to control a Mecha Phantom Beast at all times in order for you to special summon to generate 2 tokens. And if you notice in the extra deck, no Aurora Dawn. Once again, I am a TCG player and I wish to do not dishonor the challenge. And to get around seeing your level 7 cards a lot faster, cards such as Machina Fortress and Pancratops. Fortress discarding itself also counts to revive itself, but you're going to most likely discard the Olion as well. So Fortress to resummon itself, Olion generate a token, and if you have a Mecha Phantom Beast in hand, you get to additional normal summon it, so that way you can make up a rank 7 on your first turn like it's meant to do, which is insanity. And then what this deck has to offer in terms of the rest of the leftover Mecha Phantom Beast cards, Foolishing specifically for Olion, And then Aerial Recharge is your token generator. And of course, the fact that Mecha Fennebeasts are machines, limited removal is your saving grace, so that if you have tokens, Mecha Fennebeasts cannot die as long as you have tokens. And speaking of tokens, Scapegoat is another. Because Mecha Fennebeast monster stat normally says why you control a token, it doesn't say Mecha Fennebeast token, it can be different kinds of tokens, which is Scapegoat is a perfect example doing so. And then extra deck choices, aside from Samurai Destroyer, which is a machine, and because Mecha Fennebeasts are wind machines, you get to special out Cult Wing for the 2 tokens if you happen to control a Mecha Fennebeast monster. You get to revive Dracosack, which is insanity, in terms of keeping it alive and well as long as you have tokens. Stardust, because I have Valor as a tuner for the level 1 tuner and the level 7 Mecha Fennebeasts if I control at least 1 token. Leo, Baron, Big Eye, Cards Crazy, Triple Dracosack, Lord of the Tachyon, Galaxy Days, where Dracosack was a super expensive XZ from around $100 to $200 when it was first printed. And of course, Dracosack can detach 1 to generate 2 tokens, and the destruction effect is a soft once per turn. So Dracosack tribute itself to destroy something, and then Hamstrat's effect to tribute a token to Monster Reborn Dracosack, so that you're able to target and destroy another card by sacrificing another Mecha Fennebeast card, which is insanity. Red Eyes Flare Metal just for late game finishes. Phantom Fortress. If you're wondering about the Phantom Fortress, that would be the likes of 2 Hamstrats to make it. And he banishes off from hand at random 1 card from graveyard and or field, as well as banish the top card. Sky Palace, Gustav Max, burn for 2000, obviously. This can spot removal and burn for 1000, but this card itself cannot attack the turn you do this. Sky Palace's restriction effect does not matter at all, because you can just stack Juggernaut Libe on top of it, which is insane. And because this deck plays winds, Greyfly and Wind, and your only targets in terms of wind 15 or less defense, that would be the likes of Warbleran Lion, Hamstrat is too high, Megaraptor, Tetherwolf, Cult Wing, and Harliard. So based on this list, literally every Mecha Fennebeast except Hamstrat in terms of deck to hand. And of course, obviously, Droll. It's a wind, no duh. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the history of the path of Master Duel. Once again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you haven't already, hit the notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated. And we'll see you guys next time.